Sebentar. Sini. Oh, sebentar ya, saya absen ulang. LMS-nya. Bentar. Oke, kalau sudah siap, sambil saya mencari. Who's the first group?
Good afternoon, Ibu. My name
Okay.
is Elizabeth, and I am in charge of the first topic.
Could you please, Ibu, turn on your camera?
It is on already, Ibu. Actually, I am logging in with two gadgets. One is having my camera on, the other one with my microphone, because the one in my laptop is actually not working really well. So that's why I have two gadgets on.
Okay. So because I see in your second gadget. Okay. With who, Ibu? With whom?
I am actually working alone, Ibu.
Okay.
All right. Can I have the permission to share my screen?
Of course.
Sure.
You are the host?
All right.
Or
Yes, Bu El.
who's the host?
Me, Ibu Laras.
Okay.
Sudahkah Bu El? Bisa share?
Okay. I think so. Yes. Is it clear?
Yes.
All right. Okay, let me set it over here.
Why you are alone, Ibu? Because I think you are 20, or how is the making of the groups here in the class?
We discuss
I think they're
together, Ibu.
Go ahead, Ibu Laras.
So for the groups and the material, we discuss it together with all the students in the class, Ibu.
So there is a group of one, and another group consists of how many students?
2, 1 and 2.
Not 3.
Wait a minute. I will see
because
the.
if there
Can
is
anyone see the list of group and the material, please?
If there is a group of 3,
there is group of 3 or not?
Because they can join to the group of 1.
Okay, wait a minute, Ibu. I will check it first.
No.
Teman-teman bisa minta tolong dibantu cek untuk list of.
Okay, maybe for later.
Maybe
for later. Now we begin with the presentation of Ibu Elizabeth.
Okay, Ibu, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ibu. May I start?
Yeah.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon. I'm sorry. Good afternoon, Ibu Om and fellow postgraduates. This afternoon, I am going to present about paraphrasing along with its key element steps and applicative methods. So this presentation, we are going to focus on these objectives, which are to understand what academic writing and its purposes. After that, we're going to discuss about what plagiarism is and the techniques to avoid it. And finally, we're going to enter about paraphrasing, and we are going to discuss about the key elements, steps, and applicative method. So the presentation that I am going to conduct this afternoon is going to be about 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay.
Hello?
Yeah. It's okay, Bu. It's okay. And later maybe we can,
I'm sorry, Bu, because
if you need only 20 or 10 or 20 minutes, I don't know, maybe we can go to the examples.
Okay, all right, very well, Ibu. All right, so let me start with the first objective, which is about academic writing. So by definition, academic writing is a formal written piece that adheres to academic standards and obtains specific academic characteristics. And those characteristics are actually 5. One is structured, and the next one is critical. The third one is balanced, precise. Oh, sorry, there are 6 actually. Precise, objective, and formal. I apologize for the mistake here. It's actually 6 instead of 5.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? So
sorry,
by definition,
Ibu. Sorry, Ibu. Before we continue, do you share this one to your friends?
Not yet, Ibu. I just submitted it to you.
Okay. So maybe later you have to share to your friend, and all the group has to share to another. Okay. So we can discuss what it's about. Okay. Okay. Continue, Ibu. Thank you.
Yes, Ibu. Very well. I will do that. Okay. So let's switch on to the purposes of academic writing. If we break down the purposes of academic writing, there are actually quite many, but all are pointing to the same direction, and 4 have been collected. The first purpose is to report a piece of research, and another purpose is to respond to a question upon a challenge to answer. The third purpose is to discuss a subject of common interest to be reported from or by the writer's view. And last one is about to synthesize a given topic based on research done by others. So keeping these in mind, keeping the definition of academic writing in mind along with the purposes, it will direct us to plagiarism. Because when we do a piece of academic writing, we always need some sources, and those sources need to be used accordingly. So that's why plagiarism is one subtopic that cannot be separated from writing a piece of academic writing. So let's talk about plagiarism. So when we talk about plagiarism, some of us, or probably many of us, probably remember about a case a while back ago, many years ago, when these 2 fine women did their speeches. So the picture on the left over here is Michelle Obama, and she was a former, the wife of former president of the USA, Barack Obama. And the picture on the right is Melania Trump, and she is also the wife of former president of the United States, Donald Trump. And Michelle Obama, she did a speech in 2008. Melania Trump, she did a speech in 2016, and this is how their speeches went. So the one on the left over here belongs to Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, and the one on the right here belongs to Melania Trump. Now, if we evaluate the content of their speeches, focusing on the highlighted areas, you can see exact words and exact structures were used. And we're talking about speeches in front of the people of the United States. And these two women were at that time, they were the wives of President of the United States. When we take a look at the version of Melania Trump's speech on the right, we can see and we can sense that an act of plagiarism was committed. Yeah. And let's take a look at the definition itself. What is plagiarism actually? Plagiarism is actually, by definition, a conscious act of taking ideas from a source without giving acknowledgement to the true source or author and claiming them as if they were our own. And when we talk about plagiarism, then the debate is there all the time. It's there. Is it legal or illegal? Well, actually, plagiarism is a serious offense in the academic world, and it is seen as a kind of theft of private property. So it's an act of stealing. So with that in mind, we can all answer this question. Is it illegal? Absolutely it is. And so to avoid plagiarism, there are actually many strategies that we can apply: citing, quoting, and summarizing. However, today I am going to focus on paraphrasing, while the other strategies are going to be discussed by other groups in other opportunities. Let's focus on paraphrasing. What is paraphrasing? Paraphrasing, by definition, is a strategy to rewrite information from an outside source in our own words without changing its true meaning. And there are some key elements when we are trying to paraphrase. First of all, we need to be able to use our own words and sentence structure. And also, another thing that we need to keep in mind is that we have to pay attention to the length of the paraphrase. So the length of the paraphrase, if it is not as long, then if it's not as the same length, it should be a bit shorter or a bit longer. Absolutely, it cannot be too short or too long. Otherwise, there will be some meaning that will be hindered or covered, or be some other meanings that is added to the original version. Another key element that we want to keep in mind when we do a paraphrase is to remember that the meaning of the original message should be kept exactly the same. So this is not, when we do a paraphrase, it is not the time for us to be creative with our own idea, or to add or to delete some information that will hide the true meaning of the original message. When we talk about paraphrasing, there are some steps that can be followed. First step is to have a full understanding of the original message. And this first step can be obtained if we carefully note some important words from the ideas in the original message. The next step is to compose a paraphrase while having the original message covered. So try to have a full understanding of the original message itself and try to cover the original message while doing our own version of paraphrase. When we feel we have attempted to write a successful paraphrasing, we need to check the information against the original message, whether we have kept the content or the original message the same or not. And finally, and it is the most important part of a paraphrase, is to remember to do an in-text citation. Those are the steps of paraphrasing. Now, what about the methods? There are three big applicative methods in paraphrasing. First is to use different vocabulary with the same meaning to replace some words in the original message. The second step, or the second applicative method, is by changing the order of words. And finally, you can apply different grammar in your paraphrase. Let's talk about the first applicative method. When we are trying to apply this first applicative method, there are some things that we need to be cautious of. So this method is actually needs to be taken with lots of cautions. First of all, many English words might not be as easy to replace. Of course, the word big can be easily replaced by the word large, but then there are some complicated words that sometimes it's challenging to be replaced by their synonyms. The second cautious or the second alarm about this method is we need to have a thorough and comprehensive understanding of the original message, and it is a must. Otherwise, we will not come up with the best synonyms to replace the original words or the original expressions. Let me give you an example. So this is the original version over here. It can be difficult to choose a suitable place to study English. And this is the first attempt of the paraphrase. It is often a challenge to pick up a relevant school to learn English. We can see here the word to choose or the expression to choose is changed to pick up. Of course, by definition, they're similar in meaning. However, when we read the first paraphrase version over here, we can see the unnatural sense of the sentence, and it's not sending the same exact content as the original. And that's why this method is dangerous and should be done with caution. The second paraphrase version is a lot better. It is sometimes hard to select an appropriate place to learn English. So basically, when we are trying to apply this first applicative method, we have to pay attention by understanding the true and whole meaning of the original message first so that we can choose the appropriate synonyms to be used. Let us move on to the second applicative method. Second applicative method would be by changing the order of words. The second method is considered to be a more complicated method compared to the first one that we just saw previously. It is because, first of all, we have to decide which words to move to which positions. And we need to make sure that when a word is moved, some other words might need to be changed, added, or cut to ensure grammatical correctness or preciseness. Let me give you an illustration of this second applicative method. Let's take a look at the original message here on the top. The original message here is writing essays can be a challenging task. So as you can see over here, the word challenging is kept exactly the same. However, the word which is added to express the same meaning as the original. So in the paraphrase version, you will see something like this. Writing essays can be a task which is challenging. Second example will be this. If they have some help, most people can paraphrase effectively. However, practice is important because paraphrasing is difficult. Now, if you pay attention to this note over here on how challenging this second method is, we have to decide which words to move to which position. And all the expressions that have been moved around have been color-coded. So as you can see here, it's quite a headache to move some expressions or some words. Along with that, you also have to think what words that should be added or cut, deleted, or even change, edit, or cut, yeah, to make the grammatical content intact. And so if you can see here, the paraphrase version, it becomes something like this. Most people paraphrase effectively, then comes the yellow coded if they have some help. Then paraphrasing is difficult, however, and then the word because here is gone, and then you change with the word so. So that's why this second applicative method is considered to be a more challenging method compared to the previous one that we saw. The third method of paraphrasing is by applying different grammar. These strategies, when we apply these third strategies, we change some words in the original sentence into different parts of speech. For example, a noun into a verb, or the other way around, an adjective into an adverb, or vice versa. So that's the meaning of changing the part of speech. And another strategy for you to apply changing the grammar is by converting voice to passive voices, active voices to passive voices, or the other way around. Let me give you an example on how to apply this third method. Take a look at the first example over here. The most effective way to build your English skills is to study regularly. And as you can see, the word to study here is changed to be. So the paraphrase version becomes the most effective way of building your English skill is to do studying on a regular basis. So the blue highlighted area, expression over here is changed along with the purple highlighted area over here. Another example would be, to improve English, you should learn new vocabulary on a daily basis. As you can see here, this is an active voice of a sentence. And your paraphrase version, when you try to switch that or convert that to a passive voice sentence, it becomes something like this. To improve English, new vocabulary should be learned on a daily basis. So those are the three applicative methods in paraphrasing. What we all need to keep in mind is that paraphrasing is actually a crucial step when we are trying to avoid plagiarism in writing an academic piece of writing. I'm sure throughout our 2 years journey in our master's degree here, we are going to write tons of academic paper and also to present someone else's ideas as our support of evidences. However, if we want to steer clear from plagiarism, we have to acknowledge the original sources by doing the many strategies that have been mentioned earlier. And one of those strategies will be paraphrasing. And this will be the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for the time that is given to me. Thank you, Ibu Om.
Thank
Good
you.
afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Ibu Elizabeth. It was a good presentation. I hope your friends all you understand about what Ibu Elizabeth explained. And of course, the important one is I hope you can apply it in your daily writing. Okay, so it's now time to do our discussion. Of course, if you have something to ask or to discuss, maybe your statement or your question, please do not hesitate to ask to me or Ibu Elizabeth. Okay. Do you have any question?
I have a question.
Questions.
Yeah.
My name is Pak Kamal. I need more explanation on the third point. On the first one is the different word. The second one is change the order of word, and the third one, I want some more explanation about that.
Pak Kamal, could you please turn on your camera? Thank you.
Oh yes, okay. Yeah.
Okay. So you are a teacher, Pak Kamal?
Yes, of course.
English teacher.
English teacher in MTS. Yeah.
Okay. Good for you. Ibu Elizabeth, do you understand what Pak Kamal asked to you, please?
Let me paraphrase the question, Ibu, to make sure that I get it correctly.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Bapak Kamal, you asked.
There are three methods.
So just now you asked about.
The three methods of paraphrasing.
The method number 3. Yeah.
All right. So were you asking about this method over here, Pak?
Yes. Convert active voice. Yeah.
Convert active voice to passive
voice.
Okay.
Voice,
Or the other way around.
So which one are you asking about, Pak? I'm sorry.
Is it suitable for all sentences or in the special situation?
Okay. May I answer that, Ibu Oom?
Of course, Bu. Go ahead. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for the question, Bapak Kamal. If I may
Okay.
answer your question, I would say when we read an original message and we're trying to paraphrase the original message to our own version, I don't think there is one suitable method to be used. My strategy is always trying to combine all three methods at the same time, because by then we can come up with one true paraphrase version that we want in our own words. So answering your question, is there any specific situation when to use this third method? I would say no, because all three methods are actually applicative in all sentences, depending on which method you are trying to apply. Does that
Yeah.
answer your question, Pak?
Okay. Yes, I see. Enough.
Okay. Okay, good.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, both of you. Usually, we as a
Recording in
writer,
progress.
we as a writer, we know when we can convert our sentence from active voice to passive, for example. And then when we have to change some words, sometimes the writers knows by heart what to do. Okay, so the important one for you as a writer or a future writer is to do your exercise. Because if you only, for example, only write only for this topic, for me, means for my assignment, is not enough, of course. Especially if you want to later to finish your study here, you have to write your own thesis. So you have to write it in English, for example. You have to know how to avoid the same word or the same idea, maybe. You have to change to the sentence or the words, for example, or if you need to support by quote or by citation from the expert, so you have to paraphrasing it. Otherwise, you will consider as plagiarism, especially if you don't put your sources in your writing. Okay, I think it's clear, Pak Kamal,
Yes.
for you. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
So, okay, another question.
Laras.
Okay, Ibu Laras, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Professor Oom and Miss Elizabeth. Bu El, I have a question about the different vocabulary method. And my question is, do you have any advice for choosing the right words in different vocab methods? Because, there is some application to revise our writing, like Grammarly. That application, right? And do you think, is it effective to use that kind of applications to write our essay? Thank you.
May I respond to the question, Ibu Om? Okay, thank you for the question, Ibu Laras.
Yes.
Well, in my opinion, definitely the applications that we currently have are absolutely beneficial for supporting us in our writing process. However, to be honest, I like to, as much as possible, rely not too much on robots. So I always trust my own judgment when I read some sentences. So my advice is, when we are trying to apply this method, is we, as much as possible, try to understand each sentence thoroughly by reading it many times if it's necessary. Then understand it and try to close it. And as if you're telling your best friend, let's say, oh, I just read something and it was about this. And you try to retell the sentence or the message in your own words without looking at the original message. I think that's the best way for us to challenge our library of vocabulary is by challenging our own understanding of the regional message and try to retell it in our own words. Coming back to your concern about the Grammarly, I'm sorry, the applications such as Grammarly, I use it. However, I use those applications as a help instead of replacing my duty as the sole writer itself. So answering your question, is it helpful in some situations? Absolutely, they're helpful. However, it will come back to us again as the writer to come up with the final judgment of the quality of the paper. Does that answer your question, Ibu Laras?
Yes, Bu El, it's very clear. Thank you, Bu El.
Thank you.
Okay, so maybe you have to pay attention about the habit of Indonesian students. Usually they think in Bahasa and then they write it first in Bahasa and then they translate it to English. So it takes many jobs for you to do all of this. So try to think in English and then try to write it directly in English. Because for avoiding the same word or even the structure that is ambiguous, maybe from Bahasa to English, try to write it directly in English. Ya, jangan tulis dalam bahasa Indonesia dulu. Itu kebiasaan Anda selalu. So this is your first semester. I would like to inform you or remind you not to write in Bahasa first and then you translate it in English. Ya, itu yang selalu saya ulang karena suka sekali Anda menulis in Bahasa and then you translate it in English. Jangan ya. Okay. Another question. Ibu Elizabeth, do you have the example of a text here?
I'm sorry, Ibu.
Do you have an example from the journal? I mean, a text from a journal or academic journal in your paper?
Do you mean like one whole paragraph?
Yeah, in your paper.
Unfortunately, I didn't attach that in my paper. However, I can provide it if it's necessary. I will provide it, Ibu.
Okay, because this one is, I think, from each group, every time you have to make your, you have to do the example from the academic article or academic journal if it is possible, and then we can do it as an exercise for you all individually, and then after that we can recreate another text from or base of the idea. For example, if we talk about the culture or education in the text, we can do the same thing and then we can collect what were the idea first, and then we can do our brainstorming to do or to write it all the ideas, and then you have to develop it in one paragraph of article. Okay. Maybe later, or maybe you can send to me, Ibu Elizabeth, your example attached to your paper. Okay, thank you.
Very well, Ibu. I will do that after class.
Okay. Another question?
Yes, Ibu, I have a question.
Okay, Ibu Deviani, please.
I'm going to ask about, you're talking about plagiarism, right, Elizabeth? The example that you gave us was about the Melanie and the Michelle Obama, but you gave us one paragraph with lots of sentences. but I can see that the first two sentences before and the sentences after are different. My question is, how do you decide that that one is a plagiarism? Well, I can see that the sentences are different. The beginning, the two beginning sentences are different, but oh, I don't know. I mean, how do you decide that that one is totally a plagiarism? Thank you. That's all.
May I answer, Ibu Oom?
Okay, please go ahead.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for your question, Ibu Devi. Now, if we let me go back to not go back. Let me here it is. Here's the
Yeah, you go
definition
back to
of
the
pleasure.
slides. Okay.
So the definition of plagiarism itself, let's remind ourselves that it's actually copying ideas to exact same words or same structures. So when we take a look at the example that Michelle Obama's speech was plagiarized by Melania Trump, we can see that it all comes down to the exact same words. For example, here, the values that you work hard for, you want in life, and those exact words can be found exactly in here. And that your words is your bond, and you do what you say. And again, it is repeated here. If we come back to the true definition of plagiarism, again, it's about copying words and structure. So is it okay to use exact same words while changing the structures? I believe so. However, the best paraphrasing strategy is to combine all the three methods that were shown earlier. Like I said, changing synonyms or changing structure by its own self, by their own, yes, they're good. However, I have said it also already that what I usually do is I always combine the three methods all together so that we can come up with our own paraphrase version in our own words. Now, coming back to your question, Ibu Devi, how can you tell that what we see on the right is a plagiarism act of the one on the left? First of all, in that year, in 2016, right after Melania Trump did her speech, there was a chaotic moment in the USA, and the people reacted in a negative way because they were all reminded by the exact same, the content-wise, it was almost similar coming down to the words. And so, first of all, that will be one big alarm, noticing us that yes, this is an act of plagiarism. Actually, nowadays, Ibu Laras mentioned earlier that we have many platforms to help us, many applications to help us to avoid such act. And so one of those plagiarism or to avoid plagiarism application will be Turnitin, for example. If you have downloaded Turnitin, maybe in the future, if you want to make sure that what you have written doesn't have or doesn't contain an actual plagiarism, you can actually submit your work to that app, and it will run through, the system will run through a series of search engines, and it will compare our writing to many sources out there, and it will give us some numbers in percentages, and it will notify how far our paper have plagiarized or not. And so when we take a look at these two comparisons or these two speeches, I have no doubt in my mind that the right one is a plagiarized version of the left one, because there are many exact words and many exact structures in many sentences. I hope I have answered your question, Ibu Devi.
Yeah, Ibu Devi, do you understand it?
Yes.
If you see, even if with bare eye, you can see that this too much plagiarism here in these two texts. What's the name of the app to check the plagiarism? You will have plagiarism checker, or you will have Turnitin, or you will have many applications to do your or to check your the plagiarism. And then for your information, we can allow the plagiarism. For example, for your thesis, it's only about 20%. More than that, we can accept the plagiarism. Okay, so only 20%. So if you check with Turnitin, your Turnitin or plagiarism checker, try to do your check by yourself about the plagiarism. Yeah, there are many applications today, especially for checking the plagiarism. For your thesis, I check myself with the plagiarism checker. Okay. Okay. Next, do you have any other question? If could you please, Ibu Elizabeth, close your PowerPoint? I will do the presence list. Melda Sabrianti.
Hadir Ibu, present.
Priti Kavelia.
Present, Bu.
Citra Dwiayu. Citra Dwiayu.
Present, Ibu.
Okay, Elizabeth, yeah, you are here. Laras.
Yes, Ibu.
Okay, Muhammad Alfizan.
Yes, ma'am, Ibu.
Alfisa. Alfisa, are you there? Alfisa? No, not yet.
He was
Okay.
here before, but then he left.
Okay. Fida Samrotul.
Yes, Professor.
Mai Saroh.
Present.
Firda. Firda tadi ada. Firda. Fida Samrotul. Udah ada ya. Maisaro Merina Fitriani.
Yes, Ibu.
Merina. Oke.
Yes, Ibu.
Deviani.
Yes, Ibu.
Susanti.
Yes, Ibu, I'm here.
Oke. Yulianti.
Yes, Ibu, I'm here.
Oke. Priscilia.
Present.
Priscilia.
Present, Professor.
Oke. Oke. Siti Farida. Siti Farida. Enggak ada ya. Oke. Sadriana.
Present, Ibu.
Oke. Budi Prayogi. Budi Prayogi.
We don't have Budi Prayogi, Ibu.
Because we have here Budi Prayogi in our list of presence. Kamaluddin Fasya.
I'm here, Bu.
Oke, Juliana Huta Barat.
Present, Ibu.
Juliana. Oke.
Here, Ibu.
Oke. Hairunisa. Hairunisa. Tidak ada ya.
No Khairunisa in this class, Ibu.
Oke, Analisa. Analisa.
Saya Miss, ma'am. Present.
Ada. Oke.
Here.
Wardianto.
Yes, ma'am.
Muhammad Azhar. Muhammad Azhar. Okay. Yusuf Apriansyah. Muhammad Iqbal. Muhammad Iqbal. Oke, nggak ada ya. Istiqomah.
Present.
Istiqomah. Oke, Muhammad
Present.
Iqbal nggak ada ya. Muhammad Iqbal. Oke. So, okay, I want you to read. Sebentar. Okay. I want you all to read the article. I want you all to read the article that Ibu Elizabeth have. Ibu Elizabeth has an article, and I asked her to attach in the paper, but better if you share Ibu in our group of WhatsApp. So I want you all individually to write it, the article, one paragraph of article, to write it with the paraphrasing, or you write it in another model, but the same idea about the article that Ibu Elizabeth will share to you. Okay, so this is for your weekly assignment, and you have to, as usual, you have to submit it next week before Friday, means Thursday at 6 p.m. At the same Google Classroom link. Okay, is it clear? So you have to write a new article if you want to, from the example article from Ibu Elizabeth, and then you have to submit it on Thursday at 6 p.m. Okay, do you have any question, other question?
Yes, Ibu, I have a question. You mentioned about an article. How long the article should I find? Are you do you have any preference?
No, only one article, or maybe no more than maybe no more than 1,000 words, no more than that. It's and I want you all to make your own summary or your own idea about the article. So not just copy paste article, but you have to mention about Ibu Sadriana, please. Thank you. Maybe you have to develop the main idea of the article. Yeah. No more than 1,000 words, Ibu Elizabeth, or maybe consists of 4 or 5 paragraphs. I think it's enough. And then,
all right, so
yeah.
Ibu, I'm sorry to cut in. So the article, can it be under any given topic, like a pop topic article? Can it be that, Ibu?
No, I mean it's academic article. Maybe we talk about language or education or culture, or but not politics, I think. The topic that are related to our program of English or education, or maybe about linguistic, or maybe about literature. You can see, or maybe about the research as well. You can do that. Okay, so the important one is about academic article. Okay, maybe today there are many people that do the research about pop culture. Of course, you can do it, but from the academic journal. Mean it is based on research. not from media or newspaper. Okay, because sorry, we have to differentiate it between academic article and general article. Okay, is it clear, Ibu, Bapak?
Yes, yes, Ibu. Thank you so
Ibu,
much.
may I reconfirm?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we are going to choose one original academic writing.
No.
Then,
No.
no?
No. Ibu Elizabeth will choose for you one article and she will share to you, and you all have to write it. Sorry. You have to write it again as a summary or another article. Of course, you can sorry, you can put your idea, I mean the main idea of the article, in your new article. Okay, as a summary, or maybe the article no sorry, no more than 500 words. For the beginning, no more than 500 words of your article, of your writing. But the article that Ibu Elizabeth will looking for is about maybe it's about 1,000 words, or no more than, yeah, it's about 5 or 4 or 5 paragraph, maybe, I don't know. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Ibu.
Okay. Another question? So another group, you have to prepare yourself about the article, of course, academic article as an example. So we will have different article, and we will talk it in the class for example. Of course, I can look for myself the article, but I want to know what is your preference in article, and we can share here. Okay. Okay. Another question? No more. No more.
Ibu, may I ask something?
Yeah.
So, is it going to be a regularly assignment for each group? So each group has to prepare the article for the next meeting.
Yeah. And for you, you have a weekly assignment to write, because our topic is about academic writing. Of course, you have to write, not only speak here. Okay, I'm sure you speak in a good English, but I want to see how about your writing in English. Okay, so if you want to speak more and more, maybe you can in the topic of Professor Sunaryati, you have to speak in English, of course, but here you have to write. So every week you have to submit your own article, and later maybe we can write a group article, and then we try to submit in journal, academic journal. At the end of the semester, we will try to submit it to the journal. Okay. So maybe for the next assignment, it's about writing in group. Maybe Ibu Elizabeth, you have to work with another. So the article will be from a group, not a group of one, of course, but group of more than or group of 2 or maybe 3. Group of 2, I think, is enough. Okay, because at the end of this semester, I want you all to write an article, academic article from you write from you as a group, and then we try to submit it in academic journal. Okay, I think this is it. Time is up. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much, Ibu Elizabeth, for your good presentation. And thank you all for your activity. See you inshallah next week. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you. Have a nice
Waalaikumsalam
day.
warahmatullahi
Thank
wabarakatuh.
you.
Waalaikumsalam
Thank you,
warahmatullahi
ma'am.
Thank you,
wabarakatuh.
Bu.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Toeng, toeng.
Teman-teman, aku mau